is a heat drying system which uses heat to evaporate moisture into the air. At the same time, it uses air exchange to pump the moist air out of the room and bring in fresh air to replenish it. A dehumidifier uses the room air and takes the moisture out of that air. A Drymatic doesn't dehumidify the air, it heats it to allow the air to take on more moisture, which it then evacuates from the building. Drymatic extends your drying capability. A Drymatic will work in very cold temperatures, so in a typical British winter where your external temperature may be around freezing or a few degrees and you may not have heating in the house, the Drymatic is able to continue its drying process in those conditions.
The Drymatic is a new innovation into the drying market. Its main difference to existing equipment is its versatility. The important thing about using this kit is it gives you more control over the drying. Like with any equipment, correct installation of the machine will give you maximum return on its efficiency.
The Drymatic is a 2.5 kilowatt heat drain system. It's relying on convection to air exchange within the property and promote evaporation. In 95% of the cases, you set maximum room H to the maximum room temperature to a maximum. You then have your drying goal. You turn the key switch to lock. The machine's gone into purge mode. The machine is now running. The technician can take the key away. Now the key's been taken away, if anyone tampers with the dial, it has no effect on the machine. Drymatic has onboard data login, and the data is logged to a data card. So it slots into the side of the machine, and then all of the data read in each one of the ducts is fed back to that data card. The initial mode of operation is exhaust mode, so the machine will be pulling in air from this section straight through the system and out through the air to outside hose. This will be ventilated from the drying environment as appropriate. The machine will then switch into recirculation mode, so be taking the room air through this hose, goes through the machine, up through the filter assembly, back down into the machine, over the heater, and then back out through the foil heater hose. When the machine's in exhaust, as it is pumping the air to outside, it's bringing in a fresh source of air from an unaffected part of the building or from outside. This air, again, is drawn through the filter, down through the machine, back over the heater, and out through the heater outlet hose. This is a DBK flood room. This is used for our internal evaluation of the system and for continual improvement of the system. This room has been wet over a 12-month period and dried continuously to extreme conditions, so taking that beyond what we'd see in the field. As you can see, this plaster is completely unaffected from the drying process due to the controls built into the Drymatic. At the start of the drying job, the conditions were 20 degrees centigrade and 65% relative humidity. After 4 hours of drying, we've increased the temperature to 35 degrees and dropped the relative humidity to 26%. It is currently in exhaust mode, so in this mode of operation, it's pulling the air from the room into this duct, straight through the machine, through the air to outside hose and vented external from the drying environment. At the same time, it's bringing in an equal amount of replenishment air through the machine, through the filter, over the heater, and out through the foil heater hose. The Drymatic Boost, which is a 2 kilowatt auxiliary heat system, which relies on a typical snail shell air mover, pass airflow over an electric heater. The airflow is then fed into the Drymatic wall system. The mat had microjets of air being blown out through perforations in the rear of the mat. This air is generated by the air mover, heated up over the boost box, and is given out airflow at a constant 40 degrees. We've employed the Drymatic wall system and boost box. We've had a front of warm air blown directly onto the wall to create a drying effect. This dry front has moved up the face of the wall and started to dry the top section. And we now see the wet water front moving down the wall towards the mat.